So hunger signaling, or even satiation signaling, this is when you're hungry over the day. It's also when you're not hungry over the day. And this is something I think we need to be mindful of, because oftentimes people will be like, what's the most optimal way to time your nutrients throughout the day? And it's like, for most people, especially if adherence is an issue, I'm going to say we need to time it according to when they're their hungriest. And that might mean that, like, at times where they're not as hungry, maybe we pull back on food. Maybe we have them fast a little bit. Just yesterday, I did cardio. I had 4 calls in the morning, had training session, had another appointment, another call. I don't like eating when I'm like between tasks. Like, I guess I should say this. I don't like eating when I'm rushing home and I have 8 minutes to get on a call. I'm not just going to shove something in my face. I'm going to like hop in the shower. I'm going to get ready for my call. And truly, this is how I live a lot of my life, is like just back to back to back. Now, because of that, yeah, after cardio, I am hungry. And if I really needed to eat, I would eat. But I know that I would enjoy that meal a little bit more after that first call. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to save that protein shake or whatever it is. I'm going to save a meal because I'm not really hungry in the morning. I'm typically very work focused. Because of that, I'm going to have my meal when I have the next availability to sit down and enjoy it. I'm not going to just rush and shovel it into my mouth. Now, this is because I'm in a deficit. You take someone like Jordan, who like he struggles to get in food, and he will very easily fall behind getting in food. Because of that, he is probably going to have to do the opposite. He probably is going to have to like look at all these opportunities and be like, if I don't eat this now, then I'm going to be forced to eat twice as much later. So being cognizant of your hunger signaling, if you're in a deficit, if you're in a surplus, and whether or not you should let that dictate nutrient timing. Now, there are times I would say most people need to have something, and it doesn't have to be a large meal. It doesn't have to be a percentage of your total calories, but that is pre-workout. So pre-workout, your pre-workout meal, all it is before you work out. And typically it's an hour to 2 hours before you work out. A good pre-workout meal is easy to digest. It is balanced. You don't need a ton of fat. It needs to be able to sit and not affect you later in the workout. It doesn't need to make you gassy. It doesn't need to make you feel full, like full, like bloated and uncomfortable. It doesn't need to be heavy on the stomach. It doesn't need to make you cause indigestion. These are all things that I would equate to a bad pre-workout meal, is anything that's going to then affect your workout. Now, you've probably heard people talk about peri-workout nutrition, peri-workout meals during your workout. Not really needed for most people unless you are eating a lot. Jordan, for instance, will get a full sugar Gatorade and he will drink that throughout his workout because he's a lunatic, because he eats like 4,300 calories to gain. I typically wouldn't recommend this. I've had very small girls who are eating like less than 2,000 calories ask me, should I be having intra-workout calories? I'm like, dude, like you can barely stick to 1,900 calories. Like, why would we burn through food while you're mid-workout? Like, what was so bad about your pre-workout meal that you need food an hour later or 2 hours later? Yeah, there's going to be some gurus, some people who are like, no, I've hacked it. I know the perfect peri-workout meal. It's not needed for most people. And I don't recommend it specifically for people who struggle with adherence. Post-workout, the after your workout meal, this needs to be good. It needs to be balanced. You can have, I would say, more fat than post-workout. You need to have some degree of protein, and I would say minimally, like for a female, 20 grams. 20 grams is not that hard to do. If you want to have more than that, like I do like having, I eat a lot of protein. So I do like having, 30, 40, 50 grams of protein, especially when I'm talking about a whole food. If I'm talking about a shake, I might just do 20 grams here and there. A bad post-workout meal, it's not even necessarily like the composition. I would say like if you had no protein or you had no carbs, if you just had protein and fat, I'd be like, well, you could probably spare some carbs for that meal, right? Like, why did you put no carbs in this meal? But really the bigger offense is going to be having it so far after your post-workout that you weren't really adequately replenished. And I would say multiple hours. I would say more than an hour, right on like hour and a half. Okay, what's going on post-workout? I know you should be showering. So like, why did you not at least take a protein shake and consume that before you got to your final meal. It's more proximity for me. And that's something I would rather someone have something small. So even if, like, in the case like me, they're like, I had calls immediately after my workout, which is the case for me a lot, is the case for Jordan. In that case, I'm like, yeah, like just have something very small, have something light. If you have the calories to spare, have fruit juice, have coconut juice, have whatever in a protein shake. It really depends on what your budget is. And I do think it's important to, when you're learning about calories and macronutrients and like how to go about achieving your goals, I think you have to weigh out the cost associated with calories, and then the satisfaction they bring you, similar to how you would finances.